Hey, this is Jared. You're watching Backroad Exploration, and today I'm going to talk about this Igratech 1200 power station. This thing is absolutely phenomenal. It has saved our bacon twice in the past couple of months. I got it earlier this summer, and I have been testing it, and I'm going to give you my first impressions of it overall. First thing I want to point out, I have been using, for those who watch my channel, you know I've been using this Jackery 300 for years now. You can see this is quite a bit bigger. I would say it's a little bit over twice as big overall size, but it actually has 4 times as much power, which is really neat. With the Jackery, I was running into some instances where on really hot days, I could not continue powering the fridge for a 24-hour period without charging it. Most of the time that worked for us, but on trips where we were going to be base camping longer and things like that, it just wasn't quite enough power. So I started looking into some options. This company reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to try this station? I did a little bit of research around it, saw some reviews, and thought, you know what, I think this thing is really going to be what we want. First of all, I love the size because while it is bigger than the Jackery, it's not massively bigger, so you can still move it around and put it in different places. We put this underneath the seat of our car seat of our baby, which is nice. There's a platform there on the ground that it can sit on. I do like that it has this nice flat top to it. Makes it so that you can put devices on top of it while they're charging and things like that. Really what sets this thing apart from other ones is it has a lot of cool tech features on it. It has this nice display up front. The display tells you the percent that it's charged. It also tells you how many hours you have. So depending on what devices you have plugged into it and that, you know, the power that's going out, it's going to tell you exactly how long you can run, which is really nice because then you can come in and check and say, okay, I know I'm going to have X amount of hours until I need to plug this thing back in and get it recharging. Up here on the front has kind of your traditional things. You have USB, USB-C. There's 2 of each of those, which is nice. You have your traditional DC outlet, which is nice. This is what we use to power the fridge. And to me, a power station is a game changer along with a fridge. When you're out on multi-day adventures, especially, dealing with ice can be a huge pain. You end up using a ton of your cooler space just keeping your food cold with ice, and then you're dealing with it freezing over, you're dealing with the water as it melts. And so we have been using a fridge for a long time, and it's imperative that you have a portable power station or a second battery. And I like having a power station over a second battery because this can go from vehicle to vehicle. It can go in different setups, which is really nice. On the side here, you've got your traditional inlet for power, but you also have a inlet for solar. I don't run a solar setup right now, but I like that if I add one in the future, I can recharge it with that. And then on this side, you have your traditional AC outlets, which is cool. I like how much spacing there is here. One of the issues that I ran into with this is that the AC outlets are too close. And so if you have, like, for the DSLR camera that I'm recording this on, when I have it plugged in, it uses up all of the space. So even though you're only using one plug, there's not enough space to get something else in there. For us, on our adventures, we're constantly charging a bunch of different stuff. I'm charging the DSLR camera, I'm charging GoPro, I'm charging drones, and we're using a lot of power, and we're running the fridge off of it the entire time. So I want to be able to have a bunch of different outlets, and it has all of the plugs that you need for that. I can't give you a long-term review, but my first impressions over these 4 months is that it's been really impressive. I'll follow up with a long-term review. Any of my reviews I always make last at least a year that I've been using it. Of course, we've had no hiccups so far with it. I wouldn't expect that we would either. I do like that it has this folding handle, which is cool because it allows you to have this flat top, but you still have a nice easy handle versus some of the other models that are out there that are like this, where you have, you know, a molded in handle, so you can't put anything on top of it, stack anything. Overall, I'm really impressed with this. So it's not all perfect. The one feedback that I've given back negative of this is that this 12-volt cord is just not long enough. Most people are going to be running this from the 12-volt plug that is in the front of the vehicle. And it is not long enough to make it back to either the back of the vehicle, or for us, what we do is where we put this is on the floor behind the driver's seat. And this cord is not long enough to run from there to there very well. So to me, that's the main negative of this setup. Now, you can buy plugs like this. I'm just going to end up picking up like a 6 or 7 foot one, but you can see I have a different one. This is for the Jackery, significantly longer here. So the Jackery one can make it all the way from the plug at the front of the vehicle to the floor at the back of behind my seat, and you can see it's probably got another 2 feet. Honestly, the Jackery one wouldn't hurt if this one was a little bit longer too. Now I want to talk about how this thing has saved our bacon. So the main benefit, what we're using this for primarily, is powering the fridge on our adventures. But I love that I can take it out and about and do different things with it. We do an annual family trip to Lake Powell with all of my siblings and all of our kids. It's my favorite vacation. And as you know, with houseboats, or if you don't know, houseboats have fairly complex power systems. You usually have some type of big battery bank power system that is charged by your generator, and so you run your generator, and then when you're off generator, it uses that system. You have inverters and different things like that. Well, the boat was having some issues with the inverter on our last trip, and so the batteries would be running down, and normally they just run down, and when they run out, then we kick back on the generator that recharges those batteries. And the inverter is supposed to turn the batteries off before they get taken down too low to cause damage to the batteries. Well, inverter wasn't working right, battery power in those was getting way too low, and then even when we would turn the generator on, it wasn't kicking the inverter back on to then start charging the batteries. And so the problem with that is the inverter power system is how we would get clean water. So this boat actually utilizes a bunch of UV filters, so it takes water right out of the lake and purifies it right then, which is really cool. So you have an unlimited water supply unless those aren't working. So this was at the very beginning of the trip, and it's not working right. So we're kind of starting to panic, being like, well, we do have some water with us, but not enough for all of the needs of almost 30 people. So we start thinking about different options, and we're looking at things, and we tried a bunch of different stuff, troubleshooting and things like that. And it seemed to me that just for whatever reason, we couldn't get the inverter to kick back on the way that it was supposed to. We were resetting it, things like that. So I had the idea, you know what, let's take this, let's plug in a trickle charger just to the batteries that the inverter is connected to, so that there is an actual power source there, so that we can kind of trick, quote unquote, the inverter into thinking that there's enough battery power available to start charging those batteries up, because it's basically saying that they were too low and that they were damaged, but we knew they weren't because the batteries were brand new. So we did that, and sure enough, started right up. We were able to kick the generator on, and the generator starts recharging those batteries. Absolutely saved our bacon with that issue. Same trip, my brother has sleep apnea, needs a CPAP machine while he sleeps. The room that he was in didn't have the right outlets and stuff so that he could plug it in. So it wasn't a problem at all. I just grabbed this, throw it in his room. He's able to use it for multiple nights in a row without a recharge. So if you're someone that has sleep apnea and you're looking for something like that, this is a really good option to add those comforts while you're camping, to be able to have that medical equipment with you. So to me, those are kind of like outside of our normal use cases, but totally saved our bacon, being able to have something like this. I also used it, moved it around on the boat multiple times, taking it to different areas to be pumping up kids' tubes and floaties and things like that. It's really nice to be able to have a portable power station. Lots of people love dual battery setups. They're just really complicated. It adds a bunch of complexity underneath your hood. And to me, totally not worth it. If all you're doing with a dual battery is running a fridge, you should be using a portable power station. Less expensive, less complicated, and has the ability to be mobile. I can take it out of the GX and move it over here to the trailer, and we can use it with the trailer if we need to. So many options there that you can't do with a traditional power system. I'm really impressed. Like I said, I will do a follow-up long-term review of this in another 6 months or so when I've had it for a year, make sure that there haven't been any issues. But the reality is I've had issues with my Jackery. Right now, none of the USB ports work. I don't know, we plug something in, they don't want to work. I've tried resetting it, contacted their support, it's outside of their warranty window. So nothing is going to be perfect, but this thing has been great, and you get a ton of power in a fairly compact package. Like I said, this fits on the floor underneath our, the car seat where our baby sits, so there's plenty of space there for it, but you could put it in a lot of different places in the cargo area. If you wanted to have it be in like your off-road trailer like we have here, you could do that. So right now we've been using this as our primary source for the GX and for the our refrigerator that goes in the back of it, and then we're using kind of the Jackery as our backup and for some power needs that we have with the trailer, and it's been a nice little setup. So if you're interested in picking one of these things up, I highly recommend it. If you like this review, please like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching.